박지영 소송, 다시 되었어.
다시 들래.
웰컴.
In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and its cause. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its cause. May all sentient beings embody equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Allowed to work fulfilled, strong or flower. Ordinary, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha and offer it. May all living beings enjoy it. Ida Guru Rana Yes.
안에 참아라. 소비 안에 참들 드시는 소위.
Good morning to you. Actually, good afternoon to you all. And thank you for coming. Good to see you.
다 디링아스 마트야기 참데 아니 매동지의 진유 바당 만지는 뭐 강도요 바당 세단데 가장 셔바래 다데 가장서 조바프이 기와 세직송을 거다 담보디 직접 담보디기 조바프야기 기와 조데 가르스나 어저네디 현도다네 조비 상지 셈데니 질라지야당 이념선의 이야기 치등하고 가르스나 조바프기오레 세기 어디서뭘 다 단단히 초비 지응이 송하세기 다 조바프기와 조바프구야디 하정기 그 전부지 차근도 그래서나 나서 다지로 치게 그래서 뭐였으나 존나 처음은 삼나 dom고 gonda jela mechi yedis sang tula de ba mango yin somare de garesna 당와서 지 beja galeji yin ba yin yo 소소기 스카시 지 로스 뭐 이나 베데네 로라 스마 토와 야 로라 순 토바 이나 야 아니 디게 츠디게 돈도 마고 돈도 디스 고와 이나 야 아니 소소 냔슬람 바 이나 아니 야지 소소 냔네 디 다다다다 아니 질라 마치와 다 디니 용기 요레스 다 디게스 아니 가르치고 그랬는데 상그 틀었던 바 만화인 세기다 상그 특 아니고 전에 다들거네 고조성 어딜라네디 조바푸야다 아니 소소도 장지야데 답에 만화 요나면은 데레 송바레
So in the previous Sunday, we talked about, we began our discussion. Shanchidi was the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. The second chapter, the confession of the sin. So we began to this chapter by reveal or explore the one of the critical practice of the Buddhist spirituality, that is make an offering, right? So make offering is critical, is important, because that is a part of the Buddhist spirituality. But what makes it more important is that the very purpose for us to take such action, make an offering, is aimed to develop or generate the altruism, the mind of enlightenment. So, in other words, we make offering because we want to accumulate merits. The reason we want to accumulate merits is because we want to achieve the highest goal of spiritual practice, that is the realization, the attainment, or the accomplishment of bodhicitta practice, the mind of enlightenment practice. So from now on, we're going to talk about what kind of the object of offering we need to consider, or what we need to adopt or choosing. So before again say this, emphasize the importance of the make offering as our spiritual ritual, a spiritual practice. In other words, one of the very important virtuous action that we do need undertaking, or we do need engaging, we need to practice. Right? Make offering is not a simple sort of a ritualistic expression or manner or spiritual activity, but rather it is a very important virtuous action. this is particularly true when you while you find that your practice of Dharma somehow is troublesome. So you've been trying and practicing for years. However, you don't see that much transformation, that much the improvement is kind of taking place. You might wonder why, right? When you are having find yourself at this kind of situation that you are stuck and your spiritual practice and doesn't take you nowhere, then it is time for you to adopt what the Rinpoche, the Lama Tsongkhapa, advised to his disciples, right? Lama Tsongkhapa explicitly told his disciples, his followers, that he says that when you find yourself in a situation where you find that it is very difficult for you to memorize the very important or critical reference, right? Meaning that the paragraph or passage, the passage, right? And you find that also in the very passage or paragraph of the teaching that you memorized, but it doesn't really tell you much. In other words, you are having trouble to fully understand what's really going on, what's say, what is the paragraph or the phrase or stanzas you memorized, right? And more importantly, and we find that while you are meditating, right, you just find that the meanings and the profound truth that you have learned at a conceptual level through the conceptual inquiry. Now it does not really reveal itself to you. In other words, your meditation doesn't give you the bring you to the point where you personally experience what we call the realization. So your meditation doesn't give you the bear no realization, and your reflections of the passages or the quotes in the doesn't tell you what's really going on, or you have a hard time to understand it, and you want to try to memorize the pages of the reference from the literature, scripture. You have a hard time to recollecting retention, the problems of retention. Then Lama Tsongkhapa say, when you find yourself in such a situation, then it is time for you to dedicate yourself in the practice of what he called the Xingde Tula Tenpa. That means by turning yourself or through the seeking the refuge or the seeking for the protections, seeking for the advice from the object of refuge, and such as like Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, right? Meaning that you now need to turn into the practice of the refuge practice, and by the means of make a prostration to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and make offerings to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and make a circumambulation, and so on and so forth. So then, your practice would you will find yourself that all the obstacles been removed.
다디 다지름지게 다른 치몰라더니 송거와 다 디선도 마세 단다 모두도 공부 송디 라니지 다당 미스 냠스 롱 렌니워나 냠스 롱스 냠스 렌 머니워나 데 랑이지 머니와 진선의 진에 데 마방와 남신아 데이터로서 냥설은 것이 온냠도 삼네 아니 다 소소바다 두바정와 몰란다 벌써 데이터지나 아니 로이 투지치지치 송데 참실라 아니 냥설은 요연대로 송원디사소 다 소소게 단디니께서 왜지 시간을 소소 냥설은 기요나 아니 강타도 냠내지 소소랑기 냥설은 문이버티 뭐이나 다 땡니 냥설은 사마르스는 파 이게 저거더니 많이 봐 다 디리기 치자치 못해 말한 거 거디지라네 냥설은 버시 용사래 삼내네 디치도 가르치고 도스나 아니 디 소소야 아니 저바종야 어디 몰란다야 어디 지고 되니 집이나 아니 갈래 소소기 로건 이와디 치치를 송네 아니 참세라 어디 간걸 냠스 그래 송바리
So, 어떻게 공원이 스나 로라면 바다 보면 지금 시에서 그때 라면 처음은 없었네요.
제제 단단히 철로 런 친구들이야
Oh yeah. So the quotes which we just studied, advised by the Jirumuchi Tongkapa, was from his the teaching, the Lamrim, and the great treatises on the path to the enlightenment. So furthermore, actually, Lama Tongkapa, he also advised, given his disciple and the following practical advice. And he is saying that individually, right, if you find yourself that when you're encountering with new topics or new areas of the spiritual practice, new aspects of the spiritual practice, which you find yourself is incapable or not fully prepared, at that point, he says, do not force yourself and pretend you understand it and then approach it. Rather, you should know, tell yourself, even though I am not ready, I'm not prepared, it looks like this is not the right practice for me now, but may I, then you make a prayer, right? And you said to yourself, but may I remember there is such important teachings and practice, right? May I be able to one day get ready. When I get ready myself one day, may I able to directly approach this teaching at the time of when I'm ready. So this teaching, it seems kind of simple, but in fact it is carries a tremendous weight, has great merits in it, a value. Why? It's because this is normally the situation we ordinary people would do. When we find something is very challenging, confusing, or doesn't resonate so well, we find ourselves it has a little interest or not interest at all, then we're going to tend to turn our back to that very subject matter. We're going to tend to abandon, right? So that is the very negative. So you want to avoid such an abandonment, right? Such a so unwise and avoid such an unwise attitude, meaning and just abandoned. But rather, if you make a prayer and keep remind yourself, say, hey, I need to prepare myself, get myself ready. Here, there is such an important and profound teaching. So if you keep doing that, remember yourself, remind yourself, get yourself be prepared. Then one day, and like Lama Tsongkhapa says, the levels of your capability will be increased, right? And you become capable one day. And then when you feel you are capable, you are ready, then you can go approach it. And then the teachings was very difficult for you, but now you begin to make all sense and become very practical and helpful. In your mind, don't abandon and shut down to that aspect of the more higher or profound teachings yourself. Instead, you can begin. You can tell yourself, I'm not ready because my marriage is not fully. I don't have the marriage that's equivalent or that support me to approach such a profound teaching now. So therefore, I do need to make prayer and make a good wish, and I do need to make prostrations, make offerings, and doing all kinds of spiritual teachings, practices to accumulate the merits and get myself fully ready for the future.
That did so 소소바당 주바정요 세운디 다 소소바데라 아니 소는지 초당 이시지 초니 용기와래 다 이시지 초데 소소라 줄라 지발라 아니 소는지 초데 온도도 요래 다 소는지 초 그나네 다 초도 지와 아니고 역시도 가르쳤기 원했으나 아주 초바프였디 오다 소는지 초소야 난게 탑 역시도 되셨기 원했으면.
So again, this brings us to another important the practice, the topics of the Buddhist practice that is called the two collections, the practice of two collection, the collection of merit and the collection of wisdom. And our goal, of course, essentially was to understand the actuality and to fully realize the ultimate reality. So that requires the wisdom the exalted awareness, the wisdom itself. But wisdom, it has to be accumulated, it has to be improved, has to be generated. It takes time. It requires a great deal of the practice, and the practice itself need to depend upon lots of support and or the favorable conditions in which then you can enable to enhance your practice of the cultivation of wisdom, the collection of the wisdom. So how to then the question is how to get yourself have or endure with all this favorable supportive conditions, right? And to possess them, all the favorable conditions and get yourself in the best condition to develop the wisdom requires you to dedicate the collection of the merits. There are many different ways, and you should practice would help you achieve your goal of the collection of merits. But among all the technique, the make offering is the best practice.
당화수 건데 초바대안에 된이게 거침부터 차원에서는 아니다 아주 초바프야데 아니 초바프거나 아니 초바가 지시야데 가리고 그래야는 가리 푸고 그래야겠다 디용기월에다 디 그래서나 메동지브 진이요 바당 다 메도푸난 기월에 아니 지브 단 drama yuata, Jitang, Jotan, Nila Swag, and Garachi Yuanani, Tian, Chubizi Chakiori, Puna Chakiori, Sungyo, Tani, Manchi number Ganda Yoba dance. Ta Manguru to Zola, touching as Nanjin, Zantu, Down that in the Chona, Takiora, or that Ligi, Mantrusumba, or the Lipuna Chakiores. Jite Renchin Yoba dance and Jitena Nita Suzu, Zonsoki, so Tarumuchi, Garichi Yoina, or the Liang, Yarane, Control Puna Chakiores. 十张移动我只有当时呢，十张嘛，移动我的地理上储备积了容给我的，人气如果当了敌人的，那这三十分钟应该当时，但日目前一如我的地理一般不能给我的，那才我的就移动我上到移动我地理通的这样所属的逻辑浪呢。 control of Punan Kiore. That's Saso Wimba, and this Saso Wimba, Nyangawa, Saso Yidonwa, Chiba, or the Nigerian, Zilla Rombiore. Junshang, Medo Janji Baba dance on the so, Junkan, Medo Nazwa Damba, or the Nigerian, Punan Quaton. Shangon is on Yagata dance, that Junshang Kansiani, Drivers on Yoba, Yagamarani, 3 Yoba, the Nigerian. 湖南这边，他当这个那样知道呢，被他保证讲到人健康送他做，但他送的跟几人看见当前高了有把人了，俺那对了对，制装包当，制什么当，俺那背的也上当俺几个背，俺那不算几长，俺那人不几长，但错，让问一动啊，俺那我有个省得年吧有把的这个错，慢慢装为老道，慢慢为老道些。 但是这样出版的艰难，当时他对你个这样出容啊，给那个这个自个人呢，那工作了呢，这样工作是那个出版不一样的，那就是容易的什么的。
So, having learned the importance of the offering, the practice of making offering, now let's go see what is the what kind of the material you can take or you should use, but that is appropriate to use it as the object of offering, and then make it and take it and offer it to the object of the refuge, meaning the Buddha Dharma Sangha. Here on your copy of translation on page 23, the second paragraph, paragraph. Here it says, as many flowers, fruits, and medicinal herbs as there are, and as many jewels as they are in the world, and the clear and pleasant water. The jeweled mountains, forested regions, and other delightful and solitary places, wines shining with the ornaments of lovely flowers, and the trees with the branches borne with the delicious fruits, fragrance and incense, wish-fulfilling trees, jeweled trees, legs adorned with the lotus, enchanting calls of wild geese in the world of gods and other celestials. Uncultivated copse, planted copse, and other things that ornamented the venerable ones, all this that are unadorned and that extended throughout the space. So this just give us a kind of a list of the object of offering that we can use. We can properly and take it and take it and as the object of offering and to practice of our practice of the offering. So first of all, like you can see that this is including the almost is all the things, everything or all that is beautiful and that is considered to be valuable and that considered is very pleasant and to see or to have or to to be with, right? And this is including like flowers. So when we think about flowers, that's including both that you possessing personally and also it doesn't owned by a particular individual, right? And the fruits. So when you think about fruits, all kinds of fruits, right? Or grain like wheat, barley, rice, and apples or peach. So whatever the fruits and you can think of, you can take it, make it use as an object of offering. And then the things that produce possessing a very delicious, pleasant smell, right? Such as incense, right? Or any perfume, fragrance, and you all can take it and use as objects of offering. And then in the world, right? We know that there are waters, ponds, lakes, and there are mountains that are decorated or ornamented, right? And the forest also, as well as the anything in any direction and that you can think of, right? Trees, right? And from the world of the human domain, the dimensions or the realms of a human, all the way to the celestial being, the heaven, the heavenly, the objects, enjoyable objects, and you can all them are somehow you can probably and if you own it, you can take it. If you not, and then you can imagine or through the devotion with your mind, and you can take and then make offering. So the perfect example, like when you go to a lake or pond where you find oh, there's a great the very peaceful, clean, quiet, and everything is so lovely, and there's wild the gears sort of singing or make a beautiful sound, and so which makes you very happy. Or you went to the like a lawn or any part of the physical space where you find just the things are so cozy and so pleasant, make you feel so wonderful, happy, and even awe. So we got a sense of awe, very inspirational and aspirational, and very the happy, and you've been highly cheered up. Then you can take the things which you enjoy the most, you find very happy, you appreciate the most, you can offer to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha.
that in the di tanda asun di yamset di somba de da datum asung bi zichi choba puwa siungdi tanda yi da ji na se yi dong wa dong da ni ji chi yi dong wa dong 다 딘지게 스로그 직대나베 딘지게 초바 부야게 지스 로하게 이동와 뭐지 부기와데 아니 소소게 다트 마송게 지푸아스키와데 소소게 다트 송와데 소소 라니라 하와 라니라 하위 지지 가리나 초바 부야데 소소라 한기와데 소소라 마왕웨 공차메비아니 시 코이그네 당 온디지게 당내야 소소게 대통령이사네 아니 로이파 라네 로이야라네 건데 야 콘솔라네 초바 부서이나 오다티기 소난데야 산지미체 바레송레.
So here, one of the kind of a small detail we do need to pay attention is that we need to see the distinctions between the object of offering, which you own or you do not own. So suppose the things are that is by custom or law or whatever, and you are not own it, right? And it's such like the ocean and the forest or the beautiful mountain, right? And so on and so forth. Of course, you cannot legally or physically and transform or the claim that you gave it to someone as an offering, right? So you can't do that. However, you can always take it the scene or the view or the impressions of what you got from the ocean, above the ocean, or the trees and the forest, mountain. You can take it with your mind, and then make it with your mind, within your mind, right? And to the Buddha Dharma Sangha. So this offering by taking the beautiful things seen with your mind, and then make it the offering mentally is considered as a very powerful way to accumulate the merits. And so another thing is that when you make an offering, and you know by the custom or legally, and you are entitled, you can control under your control, and you are authorized to use it, and anything that you can think of is beautiful, it's wonderful, and has good value, and then you can make it in the physical, make an offering physically, but you do not need to make it by the mind or mentally, but rather do it physically.
다 딘지기 조바 부야데 강다양 지 소소 진호론 주자 지워지 푸고 들세게 와마데 아니 달 슬로도라 소소 메도 강치마도 메바이나요 아니 메도 데츠 아니 고 상지라 푸네 푸이 갑데라 아니 유차벌진 상지라니 메도 강치 푸얼 디기 틀라 때네 아니 마음발랑아 아니 도와진비 상지 샘데 줄라 제네 아니 로 신제 몽보지게네지 돈신이지네 용을 소세야도 양로 달드게네 조비 상지지 공부 토르소 시야기 딘지 이게 근홍 차벌전지 삼보 차벌전지 지버이나 메도 세데 강치고 되고 런타 친구지 말이데 리데이나 딜라 때네 마음발로 소소네 치른탕 치비아니고 저버지 라니라 용기어레서
Well, when we think about to make an offering, generally, offering is considered the good means, right? And it's a wonderful means of a very effective means to increasing and to develop to improve your sort of a financial aspect of life, or helping you and to develop a good, a solid sort of a good material well-being. So therefore, people would consider this offering is relevant in that sense. But here, the form of offering we are talking about, from the motivation standpoint of view, right? The very mind that sort of direct you to the action, such as make an offering, right? It got to be that very mind got to be very special. It's very unusual, right? Your motivation, the purpose of it, to make such an offering, definitely is not aimed to increasing your material status of your material life, or to enable you to become rich or have more sort of the asset. That's not the purpose of say you only have, right? In other words, there's make offering and what you're going to take about offering, right? Why you make offering. So why you make offering, the mind, the motivation, the reason is much more important than what you're going to make offering. And whom you're going to make offering, and is less important than why you make this, you're doing so, why you make the offering, right? Let's say you only have a piece of flour that's affordable, right? You possess, you totally can do whatever you wanted to. So that's one simple piece of flour. You own it, right? So now you're going to take it as use it as object of offering. Here, what makes this flowers is so powerful and immensely sort of become very fruitful is determined by before you make an offering, and you of course you choosing, right, the object of offering. Now in this case is the omniscient being, the enlightened being, which is the Buddha, right? Okay, so you turn yourself to the omniscient enlightened being Buddha, and you take a piece of flour, you're going to make offering to him. And at the moment you make offering, you make a prayer, or you say the prayer, and by proclaim that may the piece of flour I'm taking over to the Buddha and enable me to attain the enlightenment or become a fully enlightened being for the benefits of all sentient beings. So by saying that, think of this, and then do it for this very particular reason and a motivation, then the merits that you collected from this humble, ordinary piece of material such as flour can be countless or can be inconceivable. Why? Because first of all, your motivation is absolutely, your mind is absolutely kind of a covering or reach out, right? And all sentient being. And the object offering you're making is also absolutely the spiritual one, that is the fully enlightened one, is omniscient. So therefore, yes, don't sort of look down or downplay that the importance of what you have, and then just make it random, or make an offer according to the value of the object offering, and but rather, you always have to examine your motivation, and then make your motivation as link your motivation of make offering to the purpose of attain the enlightenment, attainment of the enlightenment for the benefits of all sentient beings. Then you make an offering to the enlightened being, and that is the right of the offering or the practice of offering we need to do.
다트네 다 추버기 안에 상하라 마테버 소소기 그놈 것도 시라 때네 안에 다 추버데 이게 지버 지 차버와 만들어 된지 용기 요래 배나 디 로진도지 셔와이나 단다 오마 자발라니 산지 준단디 주비카데라 근데 미상지라 부구지지래 다 부구데 코라 아마리 지마타다네 가제세 시와다 된디오네 부구가 발라마라 거리지리스나 당선 산지 준단디 자발라 시기요르베스 아니 샤리와다 몽게지부터서 지요르요 마레세게 오 된디지바레 데시온디 다 발라마기 부구디 지마타타 가잔디 시용도디 요가진 사마레스네 안에 파 손에 산지라 파 신도 산지 전에 지게 대손에 신도 안에 산지게 부구대에 다지 부구 온처럼 연참부지 연선하고 잡아오지 연선에 손에 안에 발라마니어 출 나라를 지다서 안에 부구 가리시 버스나 안에 산지 전단데 다 코르도 종아서 나라 달리시 소아스 발라마니어 투스네 시바레 오다 다나 신게 발라마니게티 산지 공기 나라 달리시용디 안에 산지게 최소 어디지 않에 부구데 다지산에 칼칼에 저드송 안에 치냐네지 로마토버 디에 롬보지 망고를 고란 저쯤에 고바 통로하다 원시질라 저 딘더리 아니 근가오 산지 준다데라 내 가르고 부구 지마토다네 고까지 셋군도 저쯤에 고바 토자 원시당도 제당친 가르레시용디 아니 산지 가르송바를 해서나 고랑기 지와 마마데 단다 부구디 지와 마마데 아니 미상 조거스레스 거기 지와 마마데게 발라마니나 발라데 다 뭐만의 정사사 아마코니마 도모도 이나야 딱그 전사 조지인 이산에 아니 디갑텔라다 그저 거리디게네 지당 조화제 몽보게네 산지당 공부들라다 배 전부 자침부시고 남겨와라 근데 부구디게 다 고졸라니 초밥 부야가 지더라한테 지금에 되니지 전에 되고 전다지가 송 천자라 송의 요보지 전요지네 고텔라 라차다 라기 비사디 사온디사네 아니 전다 고라 가리샤버리스나 다 저런 게 비자 데스 사운드 디가네 저런 게 지미지는 소아세 데스온디 와 지미 먹고스 니 비찬디 자야디 산지라 푸여지도 저기 요스 고 도스라레 디제네 고 산지라네 소년장 지라파포 디게 기사텔라 때네 아니 단다이게 쿠지와스마텔라 고 지마토네 고 산지시기월요 말세 디게 빠쳐사네 아니 가제시와다 람상벌더 좀 공부 토티야게 디게 소바 부야게 아니고 돌아대네 디니 종교요레세요
To illustrate the importance of the power of the offering you make appropriately, and the object in which you make offering also is the right, what do we call it, the right field of the offering, the recipients. And so when the motivation is pure, is very special, and the object which you make offering also is absolutely the special or transcendent and the enlightened one, then the the fruits, the form of the fruits, that the result you receive from the offering is remarkable. And there is a story in the Buddhist literature which clearly illustrated this the cases or illustrate that how the one's simple of the action of make offering with the right motivation to the right recipient or the object of the offering can affect the individual's life very profoundly. The story goes back to ancient India. There was a family in a village. And one poor couple, they had a son. And what interesting about this newly born son is that as soon as he born, and then he began to speak. And then he asked very interesting questions, such as, is Shariputra still around? Is Buddha still, Shakyamuni still around? Is Shariputra is around? Is Mangala, another Buddha's disciple, is around? So he asked these questions, which made the parents very amazed and also very confused. They thought that maybe this is not a good sign, because this is not normal for the newly born child who can speak. So then when these little boys grow up and reach a certain age, and then so they took him to where Buddha and Buddha's disciples are around. So the parents present the boy to the Buddha, and so tell the Buddha about the stories about the special, something special, or they consider it actually is weird about this little child. So then Buddha shared the stories. Why this is? Then so they offered, introduced this boy to the Buddha, and after the meeting, this boy immediately asked the Buddha to visit his family and take the danas. Dana means meal, and offering. He asked the Buddha to accept his invitation, come to his house, and accept his family's offering, along with his disciples. Then of course, Buddha accepted the invitation and then visited his family. And then this boy grew up and became an adult. Then he went to the town and they began to find a job. And then he working very hard day and night. And he saved quite a reasonable amount of the money. When the owner of the boss of this young man, the suggestion, he said to the boy, he said, now you have accumulated the adequate amount of the cash, and it's time for you to go home and spend this money and on the wedding and find a woman to marry. But this boy says, no, I'm not going to spend the money I made from the work and for my marriage, but rather I'm going to take all the monies I made. I'm going to make an offering to the Buddha and his disciples to support their enlightened deeds. And then later on, and this young man, who joined the Buddha's order, and not to take it didn't take him long, and he attended the Arhat board, meaning he become enlightened one, and he fully realized the ultimate reality and attended the state of liberation. So upon see all these things, this is what happened, and to this young man, the Buddha's close disciple, actually Buddha's nephew, Gungawo in Tibetan, he asked the Buddha out of curiosity. Asked the Buddha, how come this young man who can speak at the moment of birth and ask about where about you and the Mangala and Shariputra, your disciples, and your community, and also how come he made money and but did not use it for marriage, marriage to someone, and for the cost of marriage, but rather to spend money for and to make offering to the Sangha community, and then attended the enlightenment, so they attended liberation so quickly. So Buddha then tells that that is because he did such a thing. He committed himself in his previous lifetime. He made offerings to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and supported the Buddha's community and their enlightened deeds. So therefore, after he born, he remembers what he has done, and and then that's why he determined to join the order and then practice the Dharma successfully, and now he become an Arhat. So this story illustrated the clearly illustrated the power of the offerings.
Ordinary ta kong ta yang ta su su ta choba gari chi phugi na ane di choba phugi kap de la ne su su gi ganhong gi samlo gi ne pemba da ji xi qi zhong da ba xi qi zhong ane ji mui ge jia qi zhong o de ni ji ge dang ne ane su su gi choba phugi de la yang di zu ge ne zhe ma zhou de用给我的那个但只有可惜就吃的了呢，所从这个从事的要用给我的，但对嘛一般呢就我是去年吧一呢个这个的呢就我就嘛了用呀，呢就我你生活就了用呀，我但对你们不用给我的，但我说电力给出发朋友别人家呢，但可以也当我去通的呢。上级了，那都是破译呢。俺那说计划节目当就忙把那样定这个说可以了，老出他那个，我到定这个这个人家定这用给我的是。
So anyway, what is the most important thing is just let me to remind all of us here is that offering is critical, but its action itself is what makes this action is really fruitful, meaningful is not the actual action or the object of the offering that you possess, but rather is your own motivation, the purpose, the mind. So the way you aim for the purpose of why you want to doing so. So yes, offering is important, but your the right motivation, the clear and the purpose is even more important than the action itself. At the same time, what important is So you have this clear motivation, and for example, you want to make an offering to Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and also support the Sangha and the community and their enlightened deeds. Not only you wish to, through this kind of spiritual virtuous action, to attain enlightenment for the benefits of all sentient beings, but the devotions you have has should be as strong as possible, and your motivation and or the mind that you really aimed to attain enlightenment also, and as clear and as possible. So this way, with this being present, and then the result which you made, right? The result offering you made, it can be bear the fruits in this very lifetime, or in that very lifetime you made. The lifetime in which you made could be mature, right? Bear fruits in that very lifetime, or it could take the several lifetime, or in the following lifetime. So in any case, you could receive the result yourself. Yes, so the simple thing, let's say, you go into you are a tourist, okay? You went to for sightseeing, and so your journey took you a spectacular place where the scene and the view and everything is just gorgeous and absolutely beautiful. And while you are so much drawn to that very beautiful thing and become so happy and enjoying yourself so much, if you had a mind, a thought, okay, that, oh, what a beautiful view, and may I take, so in your mind, you take that very beautiful view, right, and the scene, and very delightedly, and say the prayers, and make it to the Buddha, and this result of mentally made an offering to the Buddha could bear the fruits in the coming lifetime, and you realize that you find yourself was born in the very beautiful location, physical the world where the views, the mountains, and everything is just so gorgeous. So, in other words, if you live in or have been to a very beautiful place, that you live there and you're still living, or you have been, and that clearly shows that the result may relate to your action and of the maker. You haven't made the offerings mentally, such as the one we're just talking about.
当然就，他把这产生了这些，他就进入上的第一讲了，说是样子，多少次深入，等于有个呢，那样就我就做上去出不的，我都是呢。
So, I guess we passed 1 o'clock, and I would like you to take questions. If you have any doubts or need any clarification, please feel this.
I have a question. This is really a wonderful and profound teaching. Thank you so much, Gaji Gyatso. I think the question that I have is, I feel like there is a relationship between making offerings, and renewing our intentions. There's some kind of relationship between making offerings and strengthening or renewing our intentions. And I'm wondering what that relationship is.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Only that check that the some of the pay what you so garden che and Yansambo share or 50 shillings. And get the Josh in the Zima. Only the main was la check some of the end they do. Mazo Chobashi Pugile, you go to that Shawasna Shajushis. Shajudi Jamolani, Bokonushi, somebody are it. And in a the Shaju, the Kunun, the Jurataya, the Parola, the one you were asked. Vision attached to Zishi Kin and it was Pugina, and the Tambodi, some of the Karels Koyona, data, and the Pubicavina, Mapo going and that Pushi became the Vashla Samina, the Juataya, Kunun, the Yajeta, Kunun, the Jujita, the Yungu Pada, and then is in Mamas. Ticola and go Choba Pubi Shajuda, Coloni, Parol, Coloni, Jutondo, Yagati, Joada, Cadizina, Sonasa.
그렇지네. 안에 좋아요 호수래 되네. 그침물에. 따단다디 맞아 저바 부야기 아니고 샤워지와래. 따디 원라야 안에 소소 저바 부야기 지 메도다지 임바이나. 아니고 담보 소소기 다 슬로라네 메도지 통바이나. 안에 데라 근홍지 지고요. 근홍거리 시나데라 제당아수 근홍데라 지 근홍당 디지 근홍세니 용요데. 다 지 근홍데 디갑데라 소소 토마르 지사기네 근홍데레 지야기. 그나 메도요고 쇼진도 아니 띵네 다 상지라 푸고도 세게 상로지 제바이나. 다데 지 근홍스키어레 치토미 근홍데. 다디 푸고야기 상지라 푸고야기 진선데 디갑데라는 소소 전타바지 아니 다 네 마음발라네 소소 지와 지마이나레 다 지원디 치라마이나 가이나고 제 토진비 상지지 산당 야나 샴바당냐지 오다 딘디게 상로 차로지 소소라 해야게 치다 질라 지야게 치다 야나고네지 생고던다 요구지 주태야게 치다 아니고 녜데네 상지라 푸고도 세게 상로 지용요 다 딘디게 상로 디강네 손에 소소 메토디 서케 아니사네 초발라 주비가데라 초발라 선비 선신비 값스 아니 소소 강가리 연구를스나 아주 디지 근홍세 디용요 디 값데라 다 가르치고 그래서나 다들랑게 아니 초바부야데 주송 상바치다 다데베 다당도지 정송 상바게 디가데라네 상로데리지 정바이나 데라서 디지 근홍세가 상바치 용요 다 상바디 아니 디리키 초바부야당 냠도 용요 샤워지와도 냠도 용요 치토미 근홍데 토말 조랑 부야기 조비기 통디 그런게 치토미 근홍데 용요 근데 근홍요데 뭐시름 받지네 오네 디지 근홍거데 다 조부이 샤워 시즈비가서 어딘지 근홍요 디지 정게니 조부이 샤워당 아니 다지 조부이가 삼로고 문제 안에 근홍이게 바로 그 조용 통로데 어디지 제송을 디지
Yeah, this is such a wonderful question, and also it's such an important question. Thank you for asking. And let's say, what I can think of is when you make offerings, you have to know that yes, it's involved with the process, right? There's time involved, and there's action you need to take in. and so there are at least involved two phases of action. One is like a progressional, for example, and you go out to your garden or your front yard or your property, and you saw a beautiful flower, and as soon as you saw it, you had a thought, right? You have the mind, a thought, say, oh, what a beautiful flower. Why not I take it to bring it to the house and put on the altar, right? And offer to the Buddha. So that is the starting point of your action of make offering, right? And then when you brought into the house, right, and you're going to put it in front of the wherever they put the statues or pictures or tangas are, and you're going to put it properly where you really kind of physically encountering, right? You are facing directly and with the images of the Buddha in your mind, which actually is the actual Buddha. Now you're going to make offering. Now you arrived at the actual face of the not the primary and the stages of the practice of offering, but rather is the actual the practice of the offering itself. Here you need to think of reinforce your motivation, or examine your motivation, see why you want to do so, right? Because when you pick up the flower brought to the inside, you may not fully and had a very clear, strong, and forceful, right, and a deeply devoted mind, and that's all kind of linked to the purpose of the great altruism. That is to attain the enlightenment for the benefits of all sentient beings, right? And maybe you are not clearly a reflector upon the body, spiritual mind of the Buddha himself. But here now you are in front of the Buddha, and with your devotion and your making, so you need to if that motivation is clearly there, and then yes, and so then you tell yourself, oh, I did such a great job. I'm doing such a wonderful thing, and it was great, and then I decided to do so. Now I'm doing, and so you make your offering and you complete the offerings, right? But in case that that now you had just thought I want to make offering, and then you did it. But now you have the chance that when you make the actual offering, you need to reinforce and or make your motivation of this action of offering very clearly. It is not aimed as ordinary expression of the religious devotion or religious spiritual expression and or aspirational sort of behavior. But rather, you doing so is because you need to attain the enlightenment for the benefits of all sentient beings. But this attainment of enlightenment need the support, the supportive condition, which is the merit. So now you're going to make this offering and make it yourself to be the recipients of the virtuous outcome yourself in the future, and while you're on the path of attaining Buddhahood for the benefits of all sentient beings. So in other words, when you make an actual offering, you need to look at the flower and look at the Buddha, and then reinforce the force of the devotion and the force of your altruistic intention. Speak of intention, and we have to know that why I said this is such an important question, and it's a great question, is because in the Buddhism, there always has two intentions. Okay, the intention, any action involves two intentions. One intention is we call it the intentions prior to the actual action, and the intentions at the time of the execution of the action. Right. So example is like when you go out to sow the flower, you have a thought, and you say, I want to make an offering to the Buddha. That is the intention prior to the actions of actual offering. So now you are in front of the Buddha statue. You are physically presented the flower to the Buddha. That the mind or the motivation at that very time, and that intention is called the intentions at the time of the execution of the offering. I hope this is clear.
Thank you. 다 진짜 좀 somewhere, 네, 아주 sensible.
That's all of them. So I guess probably there's not any other questions. Maybe we should close today's discussion then.
On page number 88.
판단 대화 말에 정외네 자레세와 단수 장수예 샤베센데 바도 단주지 자바바오 제다라 제마당 근도 송보 대양 대신대 대다 근제 제서 다로장 예와 대다 탐제라도 대선 샤베 자와 탐제지 모와 간라 초도 아와데 너가 기회 자와 대가 rombo jojo rado mowaje ande jone tamba darjanje danze jewo tamje kokanzo leje yonla deje jongwe sanje tamba nado jeje 간다 자와 정가래 탄조 신예 의선 자비데 야외 와외 란산 대예 가지 자야 도고 마저 Thank you.